Hello, my name is Mehdi and welcome to another episode of Read With Me. In this series of videos, I analyze reading passages from Cambridge IELTS books. I've selected Cambridge IELTS 18 Test 4 Passage 2. You can find the passage on page 88 of the Cambridge book. So make sure to open the book and read along with me. Well, I'll be looking at the passage and the questions that follow. The first question that people usually ask is whether to start with the passage or the questions. Well, in fact, neither of them would be right. You should start by getting to know the passage, but not by reading it completely, simply by skim reading it, and then move on to the questions. So I'll show you how it's done. You're not supposed to read every single sentence in the text. You should spend about 1, 2, or maximum 3 minutes skimming the passage before you analyze the questions. This is gonna save you time, energy, and increase the efficiency of your work. So let me just pick up my marker. Right, so, well, I don't know anything about the passage, so I need to look at the title, if available. The growth mindset. I'm not sure what it actually is. It's not clear to me. So, well, the introduction paragraph can tell me more. So what I'm going to do is I can read the whole introduction. It's worth reading, but it's usually more important to read the last sentence, which is typically the thesis statement. Or if the title is really unclear, like in this case, the first sentence can also help. So the first and last sentence of the introduction. But in the other paragraphs, reading the first sentence usually would be enough in this stage, of course. So the growth mindset, okay. Over the past century, a powerful idea has taken root in the educational landscape. So it's a powerful idea. The concept of intelligence is something. Okay, let's read the last one instead. Educators such as blah, blah, blah argue that every child's intelligence could be developed given the right environment. So, okay, this seems to be the clear message of the writer, which is every child's intelligence could be developed in the right environment. So this seems to be the focus of the passage. Next, growth mindset theory is so that is a definition, of course, is a relatively new and popular version of this idea. Oh, okay. So that's the theory is introduced here. The idea of the growth mindset is based on the work of psychologist blah 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 in California. So it's okay, we're looking at this decade and this person's work. Okay, and one of the greatest impediments to successfully implementing a growth mindset, however, is the education system itself. Ooh, okay. If you know what impediment means, well, you can underline it and come back to it later. But if you don't, let's assume that you don't. Therefore, the thing is that it's about successful implementation. The problem is the education system itself. Okay, there's a however. So there is okay, this seems to be a problem here. So the education system and the successful implementation of the theory. Aside from the implementation problem, oh, okay. See, now if you don't know what impediment means, by looking at this, it means that impediment means problem. Aside from the original growth mindset, research has also received harsh criticism. This paragraph is about the criticism about the research. Let's zoom a little for you guys. Okay, next, oh, where's the passage? Okay, the rest of the passage is here. Let me see. Yeah. So much of this criticism is not lost on Dweck, and she deserves and she deserves great credit for responding to it and adapting her work accordingly. So she seems to have adapted her work and responded to that. But there is another factor at work here. Another factor The failure to translate the growth mindset into the classroom. So translating it into the classroom might reflect upon the misunderstanding of the nature of teaching and learning itself. Misunderstanding of nature of teaching. Okay, these are some of the words that I need to underline. A lot of what drives students in their innate beliefs and how they perceive themselves. What was that? A lot of what drives the students is their what drives the students, their beliefs and also how they perceive themselves. Recent evidence. Okay, so about recent evidence that the growth mindset interventions are not the so growth mindset interventions are not the elixir of student learning that interventions. So if you know what elixir means, fine. But if you don't, which is again fine, you should look at the rest of the sentence to guess what it means. Okay, students learn that that its proponents claim to be okay are not. So it seems to be something negative. So let's leave it at that. Motivational posters and talks are often a waste of time. Okay, these are a waste of time and might give students a diluted notion of what success actually means. Okay, fine. So this gave me a general understanding of what the text is about, but I'll come back to these paragraphs later depending on my needs. Analyzing the questions, we'll see which ones should be done first. We don't have to answer 14 simply because it is 14. We're gonna decide which question type should be done first. So what kind of questions is this? That's multiple choice questions. What else do we have? Okay, matching people with statements. Fine. And true, false, and not given questions. Now, we know that these questions are not necessarily in order. This is a matching task, so naturally they cannot be in order. These questions cannot be in order, but these are definitely in passage order. So I call these questions golden questions in IELTS because the first question 23 is definitely before 24 in the passage. So we can answer the best ones here, and thanks to the easiest items we can locate the more challenging ones. Now, what about the first group of questions? These are multiple choice questions that are also in passage order. So we can start with either this group of questions or the true, false, not given questions at the end. Okay, let's start with these. They look scary to me because the question gives me the address of the answer. The question is telling us, what can we learn from the first paragraph? Well, that is quite scary because that means you need to have a good understanding of the first paragraph before we can choose the options. When we don't have such direct locations indicated, the questions are usually easier. But anyway, you have to answer them. These questions are, yeah, say the same style. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. Now, should we read the options or not? Well, no. The options could be good only if we had to find the relevant paragraph. Now we know where the paragraph is. We know which paragraph we need to read. So there's no point in reading the options. And if you do read the options, you will only end up judging before you read, and you might get confused by these distractors because one of these options, only one of them is correct, and the other three are incorrect and distractors for you. So we want to know what we learn from the first paragraph. So we need to read the paragraph completely. I read it quietly so I can understand, because if I read it out loud, well, reading out loud or sub-vocalizing or vocalizing the sentences can slow you down and also can affect your understanding. So this is my understanding. And so where the notion of intelligence first began. Where it first began? I don't think so. It was not mentioned where. No, there's no place. So this is not right. Ideas about when ideas about the nature of intelligence began to shift. Yes, we have when, 19th century, and the nature of intelligence began to shift. Shift means, change. So in the past, there was a belief that changed in the 20th century. So yes, this is a possible answer. If we don't have a better answer, we'll keep this as our final answer. How scientists have responded to changing various views of intelligence. No, they have not responded to that. They have suggested ideas, not responded to them. Why thinkers turned away from the idea of intelligence being fixed. Why? Yeah, one thinker actually progressively revolted against it. Okay, we don't know why. Yes, there's a fact that thinkers turned away from the idea of intelligence being fixed, but the reason why was not mentioned. So there we go. We have B as our answer. Even though we're not 100% sure about the answer, we have to keep it as the best option out of these four. The second paragraph describes how schools encourage students to, so encourage students to what? Mm-hmm. See, yeah, ability and towards seeing it as a chance to improve their ability. All right, so identify their personal ambitions. No, help each other to realize their goals. Help each other. No, there was nothing mentioned about helping each other. Have confidence in their potential to succeed. Encourage students to have confidence. Yes, you see, smart is not something that you just are. Smart is something that you can get. So you can become smart. So they can, they can use failure as a chance to improve their ability. So have confidence in their potential to succeed. That makes sense. Concentrate on where their particular strengths lie. No, it was not mentioned. I don't see anything about that. So let's select C as an answer. In the third paragraph, okay, the writer suggests that students with a fixed mindset. What do we learn about students with a fixed mindset? The writer suggests that students with a fixed mindset. Okay, this person had led them to fear of failure and lack of effort. Less competitive? Nope. Generally have a low sense of self-esteem. Yeah, I mean, it was not mentioned really, but let's see. Will only work hard if they're given constant encouragement. I don't remember anything about constant encouragement at all. So this is not there. Are afraid to push themselves beyond what they see as their limitations. Oh yeah, fear. Fixed mindsets had led them to fear of failure and lack of, yes, being afraid. So D is definitely the answer. Moving on, I'm gonna skip this and move on to 23 to 26 because after answering these friendlier questions, if you like, these, which are rather more challenging because they're not in passage order, can become easier. So 23, Okay, wait a second. There's this name. Should we start with this question? We can, but this name has been used, I think, a number of times. Dweck. Dweck is here. Dweck is all over the place, I'm afraid, so let's not start with that. Student self-perception is a more recent evidence about growth mindset intervention. Okay, well, I remember something about this. Skimming that we did at the skimming that we did at the beginning helps us locate the answer more easily. Like recent evidence would suggest that about growth mindset intervention. Oh wow, we're so lucky. We have every word that we need. So this is a pretty easy question. Recent evidence, okay, has attracted unfair coverage in the media. I don't think it's mentioned anywhere. Recent evidence. No, nothing was mentioned about media coverage. So the answer is not given for now. If we ever find another, I mean, somewhere else, some evidence for this, we can come back and change this. But for now, because we're sure the answer is in this paragraph with clear keywords that we have, so far there's no evidence for media coverage in or around this paragraph. Okay, so shall we go to 26 or go back? Now that we know where 25 is, well, 26 has to be after 25. Therefore, we can do 26 because it has to be somewhere here. Deliberate attempts to encourage students to strive for high achievement may have a negative effect. Deliberate attempts to encourage students to strive for high achievement may have a negative effect. I mean, see, something is far better. It's far better way of improving confidence. Yeah, teaching concrete skills such as how to write an effective introduction to an essay, then praising students' effort in getting there is probably a far better way of improving confidence than telling them how unique they are. Yes, see, the deliberate attempt to encourage students may have a bad effect, negative effect. Yes. Yes, yeah, we should not do that. So the answer is yes. It is yes, no, not given, not true, false, not given. Well, technically they're the same thing really. But anyway, in this case, yes, no, not given are the words we need to write. So we can write Y for 26. Now, 24, 23. 24 students okay, we can go to 24, which has to be before 25. Students self-perception. Self-perception, I think the word is here. That is right. Yes, self-esteem, self-esteem, self-perception. Okay, we need self-perception, not self-esteem. Student self-perception is a more effective driver of self-confidence than actual achievement is. Yeah, of course, right? A lot of what drives the students is their innate beliefs in how they perceive themselves. So, more effective driver than actual achievement is? Self-perception, self-confidence. Where's self-confidence? There's a strong correlation between self-perception and achievement, but there is evidence to suggest that the actual effect of achievement on self-perception is stronger than the other way around. Okay, the actual effect of achievement is stronger than the other way around. Here it says self-perception is more effective. So it's the other way around. So then actual achievement. So the actual achievement is more is stronger and more effective. So it's the opposite to this. Therefore, the answer is no. No, it's the opposite. So Dweck has handled criticism of her work in an admirable way. Yeah. I clearly remember that. Yes, see, deserves great credit for responding to it. Well, it's obvious that the answer is yes. See, admirable, positive, the way she has handled criticism. Brilliant. So now we're left with these questions. We have names of people and the statements to match with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are more statements. Therefore, obviously, these can be used more than once. Now, when we see the words, the names in a box like this with A, B, C, D's next to them, these will come in passage order. So Alfred Bennett will be found as the first name. Yes, that is here. So we can circle these names first. Carol Dweck. Dweck was here. Excuse me. This is John Dweck. Dway. Oh, sorry. This is a different name. We need Dweck. Dweck. Okay, here. There are names that we don't need. All right, like this name. Andrew Gentleman. Andrew, where are you, Andrew? Andrew. Okay, here. Another name. And Timothy Bates. These are definitely in passage order, so I'm going to look somewhere here. Timothy Bates, yes. And notice that I'm circling these rather than underlining, so I don't get confused between ideas and these these names. David Yeager, and so these two guys. Where are you guys? David, where are you? Okay, these guys are here. So these names may have been repeated elsewhere, or mentioned, referred to with pronouns like he or she. So we have to be careful. Okay, like this name is again repeated, and there's she for it. Okay, now which name should we start with? Should we start with the options? No. We read them to get to know what they are, but then we start reading something about one of these people and decide which of these would be relevant to the person. So the methodology behind the growth mindset studies was not strict enough methodology. The idea of growth mindset has been incorrectly interpreted. Intellectual ability is an unchangeable feature. They should be promoted without students being aware of it. The growth mindset is not simply about not about boosting their morale. Research shows that they say that growth mindset has no effect on academic achievement. So, no effect, research, academic achievement. Okay, now which of these people we can start with, do you think? Well, I would suggest starting with this name because that's, these two names, because there's not much to read about these guys. There's only a few sentences. Like claim that this intervention should be delivered in a subtle way to maximize their effectiveness. In a subtle way. Okay, they say that if adolescents perceive a teacher's intervention as conveying that they are in need of help, this could undo its intended effects. Yes, see, if adolescents perceive a teacher's intervention, if they understand that the teacher is, intervening, this will be bad. So without students being aware of it, that's E. Okay, the students should not be aware. They should not, the adolescents, which means the students, should not perceive a teacher's intervention. Okay, what else? So this name is gone for now, unless it is used elsewhere again, but I don't think so. Timothy Bate, did we have this name multiple times? No. So we can do Timothy. Okay. who has been trying to, is finding that the results are repeatedly, what's that? No? Oh yeah, no. He noted that people with a growth mindset don't cope any better with failure. Kids with growth mindset aren't getting better grades. Either better before or after our intervention. So, so don't you think this is 22? What was the name? Timothy? 22. Yeah, no effect. No effect. So that's D. And yeah, that's the best answer we have. No effect on academic achievement. So this is gone. Timothy is gone. We have Andrew and others. Andrew hasn't talked much either, so let's focus on Andrew. Claims that their research design have enough degrees of freedom that they could take their data to support just about any theory at all. What was that? The research designs have enough degrees of freedom that they could take their data to support just about any theory at all. Professor, sorry, what am I doing here? Oh, this is Andrew. Okay, so that was Andrew. Is that the answer? Yeah, it's not strict enough. There's too much freedom. It's not strict enough. So that's Andrew. Andrew, was it? Yes, that is Andrew. And then there is, oh, we talked about this before. Now we got Dweck and Alfred. I think Dweck has talked too much. I've seen this name so many times, and that's probably two of the answers, but I don't know really. Let's just find out. Okay, we have Alfred anyway. Alfred, developer. Okay, help psychologist, developer of the developer of the first intelligence test was one of the many 19th century scientists who held that earlier view and sought to quantify cognitive ability. Yeah. Yes, he had the idea of the fixed ability, right? What was the name again? Alfred. Alfred. So let's write A for this. And Andrew is also selected. We are left with Dweck and two options. Dweck. Dweck. That is B. B, B, B. So, okay, we have this part for Dweck. What are the options that are left? Okay. Right. So, all right. So let's focus on these two and this paragraph only. The idea of the growth incorrectly interpreted and not simply boosting. So, okay, the idea of this is the first time we have the name because of the first name. When we have only the last name, it means that, well, the name has been used before, but we have the first name and the last name together, so it's definitely the first time this name is appearing. One key. Okay. Praising actually made the students perform worse, while praising effort emphasized that change was possible. Anywhere else do we have Dweck? She argues, okay, here we have Dweck again. She argues that her work has been misunderstood and misapplied in a range of ways. Yes, has been incorrectly interpreted, so that's definitely B. Now, if you have time in the exam, you can read more to find evidence for this, not simply about boosting students' morale, but otherwise, let's say the time is up and you don't have much you don't have any chance to read for this item because this is a name which has been used more than once in a couple of instances. See, Dweck. We can choose this answer, this option B for 21. And as much as there's time, we can read to look for the answer. Otherwise, we can just keep B for the answer. So that's it. We have all the answers now, and we're done. Now, if you guys have any questions about this video and the way I answer these questions, please do ask in the comment section below. And if you're taking IELTS soon, make sure to subscribe because there's going to be more videos like this coming up soon. Happy learning, and I will hope to see you in our next video.